Hello and welcome to Friday's Masterclass edition of Cracking the Cryptic, the time every week where we get to solve the Times Cryptic crossword. I will try and do it live for you on screen and explain what I'm thinking about as I do it, which hopefully will be useful if you're new to these puzzles, and you'll learn something of the tips and tricks of how to do them. Let's have a quick look. I looked at the snitch earlier, and it was suggesting that this is a much harder than average puzzle, and, well, actually, if we ignore the typists, the first three here are typists, people who complete the puzzle on paper and then type it in. Why they do that is anybody's guess. But Moan is real, John McCabe, Jason James is real, Andrew Fisher, Aphis99 is real. So 5 minutes, that's actually very quick. Misty Gris Verlaine. Verlaine is the reigning Times Crossword champion and will be defended. Is it next Saturday? Matthew. I think it's Matthew Marcus is Verlaine's real name. I think it's next. I think it is next Saturday. So that's going to be exciting. Well, anyway, that's by the by. Just a quick appeal. If you do enjoy these videos, the YouTube algorithm doesn't promote them as much as our Sudoku videos, which I think is a shame. And I think the best way of teaching the algorithm that people really like these videos is is to drop a like on them or subscribe. And so if any of you do enjoy the videos and are not liked or subscribing to them, please do consider it. It will hopefully get these wonderful puzzles a bigger audience. Now, have I got my dictionary? Yes. Look at that. It's actually in the right place as well. Now, I'm not going to use the dictionary except to support answers. So I'm not going to cheat to use it unless I get very, very badly stuck, which hopefully won't happen. But I am going to use it to sort of explain some of the ideas as we go along. So anyway, let's get cracking. And hopefully we will see how we go. Where's the puzzle? Here it is. So, run across. While singer goes around hotel, it's disgusting. Okay, so let's just start with a quick... I don't know what this clue is, by the way, but I just want to start by saying a couple of things. If you are new to these puzzles, how they work. Every clue has a straightforward definition of the answer, and most of the challenge in these puzzles is to work out what that straightforward definition is. So in this clue it might be disgusting, for example. It probably is disgusting, actually, as the answer is normally at the start or the end. So in theory, at least, if you got very good at reading these clues or very good at guessing, you could actually turn a cryptic crossword into a quick crossword. And the rest of the clue, the part that's not the definition, so let's assume the definition here is disgusting, or it's disgusting. The rest of the clue is wordplay, which might be telling you to anagram some things or to put a word inside another word. So it's really just a question of distilling each clue into a sort of mathematical equation. Now, let me just think around about this for a moment. Singer is an interesting word in a cryptic crossword sense. Because it conjures up, I mean, types of singer. We could have an alto or a bass singer. Singer could be a name of a bird, though. Birds are very famous for singing, so I'm not very good at knowing. I'm sort of trying to think of short synonyms for songbirds. Is a wren known as a songbird? I don't know. But what's while doing in the clue? Now, another principle that does apply in cryptic crosswords, especially good cryptic crosswords, and the Times is a very good cryptic crossword, is there shouldn't be anything superfluous in the clue. So it shouldn't be possible to just remove words from the clue and the clue to mean the same thing. So I'm thinking while. What's a very short synonym for while? Well, I'm thinking as. While I did something. As I did something. They are synonymous. So I'm thinking as for while. Then I haven't really got my singer. I think it might be a 5-letter singer, because hotel is, I think, the international radio alphabet word for the letter H. So if you sort of heard somebody on the radio saying Hotel Romeo, they would be going HR. So it's probably beginning with as, it's probably got an H in it, and it means it's disgusting. And the answer is, I don't know. Anathema? No. Oh, I don't know what it is. No, sorry, I haven't got it. Let's try one down. Granted, nothing has yet been settled. Okay, I can do this one. And again, everything I've said so far, well, everything hopefully I was saying in the video is true. Some of the thoughts may be misleading because they won't be the right thoughts. But again, what we can do is we can look at this clue, and we know that some part of it is a straightforward definition of the 7-letter answer. And that probably is a word either at the start or the end of the clue. So we're probably looking for a 7-letter word that means granted, or a 7-letter word that means perhaps settled. Now in this case I'm going to tell you it's granted. And the way that I've got that is that I've detected, I suppose, that the rest of the clue is likely to be wordplay, and that's because of this question mark at the end. So a question mark, if you see it in a cryptic clue, it could be because the actual phrasing of the clue is as a question. So it could be just to be grammatically correct. But very often it's not. Very often it's to indicate that we have to read something in a punny way or in a cryptic way. So if nothing has yet been settled, think of that in the sense of a debt. If nothing has been settled, how could we describe it? Well, then all, if nothing is settled, then all would be owed. And if I write all owed in, and I say it differently, allowed means granted. And that is the answer. So that is a great example of a very nice cryptic clue and how they work. Now that seems to support my as here, doesn't it? What is this? It's disgusting. A shaming? No. No, I don't think that's right. Aiming is not a word, or amming is not a word that means singer. All right, let's try 8 across. Striking German cycle. Oh, is that the ring cycle from Wagner? I don't know. On grassy area. Oh, okay, well, grassy areas. There's a very famous short synonym for a grassy area. And that is lea, which is a sort of word for a meadow. Oh, now that's got me thinking of that poem. The lowing herd winds slowly over the lea or something. Anyway, if lea was involved in this, so we have to put a German cycle on here. Striking. And maybe it ends in ring for the ring cycle. Striking. Oh, leathering would work. Oh, the ring. Okay. So the Germans. So I was on the right lines. It is referring to Wagner's. Wagner. My tongue and my teeth aren't working today. Wagner, the ring cycle, not the Lord of the Rings, something different. So we put the ring cycle on the grassy area. And we get leathering, and if you leather somebody, you strike them. Now, let's go for 10 across. This would be very useful. Look how many checking letters we get. Feel how criminal gets riches and fateful revolver. Well, okay, I think some of our US audience might just immediately write this in. Okay, so one of the great techniques of cryptic clue writing is to use words out of context. So if we read the first 3 words here, or let's read the first 5 words. Feel how criminal gets riches. Now the image that the constructor is trying to conjure up in our brains is of a criminal, amassing filthy lucre, and how we might feel about that. But that is not anything to do with how we must read the clue. let me read it slightly differently. Feel how, criminal, and I don't want criminal to be a noun there. I want it to be an adjective. If we treat the letters of feel how in a criminal way, then we might anagram them. And if we do that, we can create wheel of, and if we add a word that means riches to that, because it gets our anagram of feel how gets, it is next to a word that means riches. We can put fortune, and a fateful revolver is nothing to do with a gun. It's something that revolves and predicts your fortune. A fateful being the clue there. We get wheel of fortune. So what's that then? Let's try 11 down. That would be more sensible. Beginning to strip. Rip off long clothes. Beginning to strip. Rip off long clothes. I mean, that's a brilliantly worded clue. The way I read the clue, just to explain, I think it means beginning, or beginning to strip, which is a bit strange. And then I read it as rip off. Well, if I treat the letters of the word rip in an off way, I would anagram them. So I'm quite interested in putting an anagram of rip in the answer here, because long clothes does not to me refer to a robe or a gown, a long piece of clothing. I think this is saying, think of a synonym for the word long and allow that synonym to clothe, to surround an anagram of rip. So rip off long clothes I read as an anagram of rip inside a synonym for long. Now, and long obviously might not mean long as in length, it might mean long as in wish. If I wish for something, I long for it. I mean, the word I thought of is desire, but that's no good because obviously desire is 6 letters. I'm looking for a 4-letter word for long, really, if I want my rip-off to work. But I'm not coming up with anything there. But some of you might. Some of these thoughts, if you're watching this and thinking about the clue, some of them might trigger something in your own minds and allow you to solve it before I can. Let's try 3 down. Part of a general misery in Old Town, not half. Part of a general misery in Old Town, not half. I've got a possibility for this one. I have got it. Wow. Okay. Now, those of you better at Shakespeare than me will have probably got this answer more quickly than I did. So, again, part of the clue, or it is a definition. Now, here the definition is mean. If we did present this as a quick crossword, I think it would be still quite difficult to detect the answer, even if I just told you what the definition is. The definition here is part of a general, I think. How does the rest of it work? Well, what we need to do is to know that old is a word that has an abbreviation. Old can be abbreviated to O. Remember, any abbreviation you fancy using in a cryptic crossword must be supported by a dictionary, and not just any dictionary. It has to be supported by an excellent dictionary. And the most common dictionary used by crosswords or crossword setters and editors today is the Chambers Dictionary. So if we type O in, we will... Oh, it's straight there. There we go. Old. So you can also see ordinary, as in an O level. Ohio, indeed. Let's see if there's any others. Oxygen, very common. You see oxygen in a cryptic crossword clue, it almost certainly will refer to its abbreviation in the periodic table. So this old is indicating O. Town, not half, is saying take half of the word town. And in this case, it's the first half, T-O. So then we have to put misery in O-T-O. But if I start it with O, then I put the T and I put the O at the end, I put hell in the middle for misery, I create Othello. Now, although I am familiar a bit with the story of Othello, Desdemona, Iago, I didn't know that Othello was a general. But Othello must have been a general, otherwise I don't understand the clue. So part of a general, I think, is saying, in a play by Shakespeare, a name of a general was, and the answer is Othello. So it's quite difficult, even if you were very good at Shakespeare, part of a general may not immediately define Othello for you, but I think it is the right answer. It's so supported by the wordplay that it's very hard to believe there could be another answer to this clue. So now we get left, well, let's try this one, 4 down. Blunder, installing extremely inferior browser. Right, I don't know what this is yet, but I think I can read the clue correctly. And again, one of the tricks of the cryptic crosswords is that if the words in the clue, or if the part of the clue you're focusing on seems to be indicating doing actions to things or moving things around, that's going to be wordplay. So let's read the clue again, trying to just detect which parts of the clue might be wordplay. Blunder, obviously that's a noun. Installing. Okay. So if you install something in something else, you put it inside it, don't you? So that's more like, so it sounds like we need a word for blunder, and we're going to install into that extremely inferior. How could we read that in a cryptic way? Well, if you take the extreme letters of the word inferior, that would be the first letter and the last letter. They are the extremes of the word. So it's nothing to do with, the meaning of the word inferior at all. It's literally the only reason that inferior has been used in this clue is it begins with I and ends in R and fits in terms of the sentence that the constructor is trying to construct. So I think we have to put I and R in the middle of this. Now the only place I and R can go is there. Gaff, giraffe, it's giraffe, isn't it? I was then left with thinking of a 5-letter blunder that had the construction blank blank F blank blank. I thought of gaff, and then giraffe is a word, and then you go back to the clue and you think, okay, how is this justified? Because browser then needs to be the definition. And I think if you've ever been to Africa on safari, the giraffes, they do browse. They sort of just go from tree to tree, munching on the tops. And I think, indeed, the dictionary would support that a browser is an animal that grazes, I think. Let's have a look. Now, the act of browsing. It's not actually... Oh, browser, there we go. Yes, something that browses, which is to feed on the rough shoots of plants. So that's how you get to giraffe. Now we should be able to get this one. It's disgusting. Oh, goodness me. Right, I've read this clue completely incorrectly for you. I have now solved it, but I haven't helped you at all. Some of the ideas I told you were good. But this is a great example of a very clever clue where I have been misled by the clue. Because when I see while, and I know that there's a short synonym as, especially once we've got an A here, it feels, okay, that must be as. No, actually here, while is the definition of the answer, believe it or not. And then the singer, I think I mentioned alto for a singer. Well, that is important, because if we put alto around H for hotel at the start, like that, and then we put it's disgusting. Now, in comic books, you might see UGH, ugh, and that would mean it's disgusting, wouldn't it? So that gives us although and while and although are also synonymous, as and while are also synonymous, but although is going to be right, isn't it? Okay, so that's good. At least we've got it. So crossing path with one, going around states. Not to be something like traversing, but that's Crossing. Traversal. Oh, well, that's probably right, because, okay, let's put it in. The reason I like this as an answer is if you state something, if you're speaking and you state something, you aver it. So states here is not referring to going around the states of America on pathways. It's referring to states as in to speak, to state a sentence. So avers. Now, what's that in the middle of? That's in the middle of T-R-A-L. Why is that? Path with one going... Crossing path with one going around. I'm not sure, actually. Maybe it's not... I think it is traverse... something. Maybe it's not AL at the end. A crossing is a traversal. Path with one going around. States. Or maybe... I'm not sure. You have to be careful, because if you can't support an answer from the wordplay, it could mean you haven't understood the wordplay. It could well mean that. But it could also mean, the answer's wrong. The answer you've thought of, which it might be just a different ending, but I don't understand how path with one or with one can indicate T-R-A-L. I'm not sure. So I'm reluctant. I suspect avers is right, though, because we seem to be ending up with something that's close to meaning a crossing. So let's see if we can get 11 across. Beginning to strip, that could be S. Rip off, con. Long close. Oh, if you're long, you die for something, don't you? Disrobe. That's a... wow. Okay. That's fantastic. That is a fantastic clue. Good grief. Okay, so... wow. So, I said at the very start that every cryptic crossword clue contains a definition, and that definition is almost always at the start or the end of the clue. There are very few exceptions to that rule about the definition being at the start or the end of the clue. And one example, which is a very rare example, you'll be lucky if you see one of these or you might see two of these a week in the Times crossword, and they're very rarely brilliant. And this is brilliant. This is called an and lit clue, and this is a clue where the entire clue is the definition, and the entire clue is also wordplay. So let's read the clue as a sentence. Beginning to strip, rip off long clothes. So we need a word that means beginning. If you're beginning to strip, you rip off your clothes, basically. So disrobe does define that. But the whole clue is also the wordplay for that answer. Beginning to strip is S. If you rip off somebody, you rob them. So that S, rob. And long, if you long for something, you die for it. And that clothes the S and the rob to give disrobe. Isn't that clever? And it is clever, but it hasn't really helped. So let's try 12 down. The sticks. Sticks is sort of the outback, isn't it? It's a sort of, if you live in the sticks, you live in the backwater, maybe. Supporter. It is backwater. That is answer, because Buddhist temple is a wat. So supporter is a backer, and that's placed around wat, W-A-T. When I went to Thailand, I visited lots of wats. I did. I did. When did I go to Thailand? When I was about 21, I think. Most extraordinary place. Anyway, I get distracted. Let's try 21 across. Puzzle which involves energy, caution, and discipline. Puzzle which involves energy, caution, and discipline. Discipline. Oh, I don't know. I haven't got this. I think the construction's going to be something like grin and bear it or something. Puzzle. I don't know. Let's try 15 across. Gag as cracked by the French. Yes, okay, I have got this one. So again, if we're trying to detect which bits of the clue are wordplay here, as cracked by the French. Now there's two bits of that are quite helpful, I think. Cracked by, I mean, cracked could be an anagram indicator, but if something is cracked by something, it's sort of, that thing is inserted into it, isn't it? So could we think of a word that means as, that's cracked by, that has inside it the French? Now if you see the French or the Spanish in cryptic crosswords, or a French, it's always going to be the French translation of the word the. So the in French is le or la or lay. So if we put le in a 5-letter word which means as, to create a word that means gag, if you gag the press or gag somebody, you silence them. And since goes around le to give that. So no, so this is traversal, and I don't understand why. Oh dear, hang on. Crossing path with one. Oh. Oh, that's vicious. Right. So it is crossing. That is the definition. A crossing is a traversal. A path is a trail. Trail. And you may say, well, hang on, there's no I in this answer. You're right, because one is a synonym for I, isn't it? You can think of that in a variety of ways, but the way I always think about it is as a Roman numeral. But I suppose it could be I did this. You could be saying one did that, you know, in a sort of posh way. But one is the Roman numeral, or sorry, I is the Roman numeral for the number one. So why one here in the clue is synonymous with I. So path, trail, with one going says throw the I out of it. The one has gone away from the word trail. And that gives us trowel, which we put around a word for states. And that is why traversal is supported by the answer. That's very difficult, but very clever setting, actually. Now we've got an E here. What's this? En garde? Starter of Chinese leaves in pastry whilst travelling. En route is when you're traveling. It must be en route. I don't know why. Let's put it in. But we will justify it. Starter of Chinese. Leave. Oh, en croûte. That's brilliant. This crossword is brilliant. So starter of Chinese is the letter C. It is the starting letter of the word Chinese. And if something is in pastry, it's en croûte. So if we take the C out of en croûte, we get en route, which means whilst travelling. That's very nice indeed. So well worded. Because it's so well worded. Because it's so difficult to split the clue in the correct. You have to read it as starter of Chinese leaves in pastry. Rather, but the natural way we read this is starter of Chinese leaves, because I'm having a starter of these Chinese leaves. And that's the skill of great cryptic crosswords writing. So, 16 down. Providing, if maybe? If is a word that means providing. Gospel. I will need 2 parts of the Bible. Providing gospel. Okay, I have got this. There's another good clue, actually. how to describe how to solve this. Again, I think most of the way I've solved this is by cutting it in the correct position. So I'm going to tell you where the cut in the clue is. The cut is on the comma, basically. So providing gospel is the definition, and the rest of the clue is the wordplay. So let's look at the wordplay first. I will need. Well, what's I doing there? You have to remember these clues are meant to be read as equations, so it's not saying I, as in the clue writer, will need something. It's saying the letter I will need, and that letter I is this I in the answer. So I will need 2 parts of the Bible. Well, if you see parts of the Bible in cryptic crosswords, you will very often be looking at either the New Testament or the Old Testament. They are 2 parts of the Bible, and they have very good abbreviations that cryptic crossword writers like. NT for New Testament, OT for Old Testament. Now, the other parts of the Bible that you will sometimes see are some of the shorter books. Acts is a good one. Acts is a book of the Bible that is quite a useful collection of letters for cryptic crossword writers. But in this case, it's not Acts, it's the book of Ruth. So if I put I with one part of the Bible, the New Testament, and another part of the Bible, the book of Ruth, I can create in truth, which means if you're providing gospel to somebody, you're providing, gospel is a word that means truth or news, but colloquially we use it to mean truth. So in truth is the answer. So what's this? Through, throw, puzzle, throw, puzzle which involves energy, caution, and discipline. If you discipline somebody, you throw the book at them. I like that. Let's put that in. Throw the book at. Now, why? I don't know. It might be wrong. Puzzle, which involves energy. Energy is quite often E, and that's from science. So Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared. Energy is mass times the speed of light squared. The E in that is energy. So maybe that's E here. So caution. If you caution somebody, you book them, don't you? So if a referee cautions a player in football, they book them. So e-book might be e-caution. Sorry, energy caution might be e-book. So throw that. Through. What's going on? Hang on. Puzzle. If you puzzle somebody, you throw them, don't you? That's true. If you puzzle someone, you do throw that. If I was thrown for a loop, I would be all over the place. I'd be puzzled, bemused. So puzzle maybe is throw, which is synonymous with that. So throw that involves e-book for energy caution, and if you discipline, you throw the book at. It's difficult. It's difficult, but it's fair. Now, what's that? Tutu? African place. Oh. Zulu? It is Zulu. Okay, so this is it's a common type of clue, and of quite an amusing answer. So the common type of clue that we often see once or twice, I think, in every cryptic crossword is a homophone. So it's playing with language and the fact that the way that we hear words is very often different to the way that we spell words. So I want you to think about this clue in the context of these 2 words, zoo, Z-O-O, and loo, L-O-O. So at the zoo-loo, what would be happening? So a place to spend a penny while seeing the wild animals would be the zoo-loo. The Z-O-O-L-O-O variety, spending a penny being a euphemism for going to the toilet. So Zulu, but obviously Zulu, another way of of spelling that such that it sounded the same would be a Zulu, and a Zulu is an African. So a Zulu is the answer there. Now that's interesting, isn't it? We have got quite an unusual letter, a Z. So maybe the constructor has gone for a pangram. We've also got W as an odd letter. We haven't seen Q or X. We have seen K, though, which is another of these slightly strange letters. So let's be on the lookout for pangrammatic. Pangram being a puzzle that features every letter of the alphabet. In fact, I was reminded by a comment. I think it was last week's video, last week's puzzle, which turned out to be by a friend of mine who I don't see very often, but John Guyver was the constructor of last week's wonderful, wonderful cryptic puzzle. It was John Guyver's debut in the Times, and what a puzzle that was, by the way. Absolutely superb, as is this one. But one of the comments on that video referred to that puzzle was a pangram. It had every letter of the alphabet once each. But I'd remembered I'd seen a puzzle in the past that had been what I thought might be a tri-pangrammatic puzzle. So a puzzle that featured all the letters of the alphabet 3 times in a normal size grid. Just think about how difficult that would be to achieve. And one of the comments said, no, Simon, you've misremembered. It was a quintuple pangram. It was a puzzle in which all the letters of the alphabet appeared 5 times. Now, I obviously did solve that puzzle, and I knew it was an extraordinary grid construction. But it's funny now to think back on that. I would have said that's stone cold impossible to achieve that. Every letter of the alphabet appearing 5 times. In fact, as I'm saying it now, I almost don't believe it. I almost think the comment must have been wrong. I'm going to go and look up that puzzle. But anyway, let's have a look at this. Is this oh dear? How terrible, oh dear. So it is oh dear, but why? Daughter. Daughter can be abbreviated to D. We'll look at that in a moment. That's probably that D. So let's have a look. Daughter blocks, so is inside. Catch. Oh, if you hear something, you catch it. You know, I just caught what you said. You would be saying, I just heard what you said. So with ball at first. Ball is O. And that's a strange one until you get used to it. But if we look at O, it is defined. The letter O literally is defined as anything round, which is why if people refer to balls, it can just literally be defined by O. Let's try. Hang on. Where was it? Spangle. Naught or nothing. Anything round. There it is. Anything round or nearly so defines an O, believe it or not. And let's look at D, just to show you. I think this must be from family trees, that people might put a D in a family tree, meaning daughter. Where is it? Here we go. Daughter. So that's why that D is defined. So we've done the western half of the grid now. So let's have a look at 23 across. Item for cleaning excessively black bird cages. Item for cleaning toothbrush. If something is excessively something, it's too much. It's a T-double-O, isn't it? That's lovely. It's just beautiful wording. This is last week and this week we have seen 2 fantastic puzzles. So just look at what the constructor has done here. Blackbird cages. Well, that conjures up an image, doesn't it? It's the cages of black birds. But we can read that cryptically. B can be black. So let's just show you that. That's from pencils, I think. I think if you see HB on a pencil, is that hard black that would refer to? Black, there we go. Oh, it even says on lead pencils to indicate softness. So black bird cages is intended to be read as black, B for black, which the name of a bird cages. So the name of the bird surrounds it. It cages the bee, and the bird is a thrush, and that gives us toothbrush. I would if I could type. So, now where's... Okay, we'll try the K, shall we? Item worn when, e.g. running dog gets fit. Tracksuit? I mean, I think it's going to be tracksuit. I haven't understood quite why yet. If something suits something, it fits it, doesn't it? So, gets fit, I think, is saying the first part of the answer gets the word suit. A running dog. Oh no, hang on. No, item worn when, e.g. running is the definition, which defines a tracksuit. And if you dog somebody, in the sense of you shadow them, you follow them, you track them, don't you? So dog and track are synonymous, and then fit and suit are synonymous, and we get tracksuit. Now, I'm going to go for 20 down, actually, because I want to put an H here, and that's going to give us a very good chance of lucking into the answer. So, one hoping for a lift from big songs, say, by pop singer. Cher? Cher could be the pop singer. They've dropped the they've dropped recently the requirement that any person referred to in the Times crossword has to be dead unless they are the reigning monarch. That's been a rule for decades, but they've dropped it recently, and Cher, I think, is still alive, so I'm thinking pop star might be Cher here. One hoping for a lift is a hitchhiker. Big song is a hit. So it's hit by Cher to give hitcher, one hoping for a lift. Right, let's try. Try the one with the B in it. 19 down. Dashed hope upset proofreader for the Sun. Dashed hope upset proofreader for the Sun. I don't know. That's a very clever clue, actually, because I don't know. I'm not sure what the definition is. When I first read it, I thought it was dashed, and then I thought it would be a word for hope. Oh, maybe hope upset is actually an anagram of hope. Oh, is this something like phobos or something? Is a proofreader for the Sun? No, hang on. I want that to be a sub-editor or something. I don't know. I'm wondering about phobos, because I can see that's got an anagram of hope at the start. Proofreader for the Sun. No, this is wrong. This isn't right. Dashed. I'm not sure. I think that might have something to do with the answer, but I can't understand it, so I'm not putting it in. That could be a P though. So let's have a look at 18 across. Charge 1p per person to cross motorway. 1p per person to cross motorway. I mean, M is an abbreviation for motorway. Those who live in the UK will be very familiar with the M1, the M6, the M25. So I think this is going to have an M in the answer. So, and if that's right, then the other side of the clue is the definition. So we're looking for a 7-letter word which means charge, which has an M in it. Although quite where... Okay, if that was a P, then the M would probably be here. Impeach. That's going to be right. I don't know. I'm quite... One penny each. Golly, that's clever. Yeah, so we've got M here for motorway, and 1 pence per person, 1p each, is crossing M to give impeach. And if you charge a president, you impeach them, don't you? So, now, what's this then? Ideated? Oh, inertia, no. Reluctance to move must be inertia. If you're at home, you're in. It's overturned in time. Well, the time here is the era, And if we overturn the word it in the word era, we can construct the word inertia. And there, I mean, that's become so much easier because we've got all these checking letters. Now, I'm going to go for this one before I try and work out why 19 down is... I want it to be phobos or something. 25 across. Strength. Drug. Swallowed by Mr. Muscle. Oh, goodness. Drug. I mean, if you see drug in a cryptic crossword, very often it's actually the letter E from the drug E. It could be pot as well. That's another short synonym for drug, isn't it? So, Mr. Muscle. So that would imply... Oh, unless... Well, I'm now wondering whether I could read this. If I can think of a five-letter... A five-letter word that means strength. I'm wondering about asset. I don't think this is right, but I'm going to put that in. If that was the name of a muscle, a masseter or something, it's not right. But just to explain how I've got that from the wordplay, if a strength is an asset and a drug is E, and that's swallowed by MR for Mister, that would give this construction, wouldn't it? I don't really like asset, but I think if I could think of a different thing to put here for my strength, oh, thing is, asset would work with phobos. Masseter. I mean, I'm just not good enough at biology to know. I mean, I don't think I'm familiar with like triceps and pectorals and... not sure. Okay, let's go back to this one. I'm going to put phobos back in. Oh, I mean, actually, now I'm wondering, is phobos that, actually? Oh, it might be. Dashed. Oh, I'm not sure. Proofreader for the Sun. You see, if... Oh, okay. So, I was thinking hope was being anagrammed because of the word upset. But if you dash, his hopes were dashed. If you dash something on the rocks, you'd be throwing them on the rocks, wouldn't you? So dashed could be an anagram indicator. So maybe we're dashing the word hope, or the letters of the word hope. So that's the anagram. And then we're upsetting a proof. So I need a proofreader. Well, sub, I think maybe sub then. Go back to that spelling. Because I think a sub-editor is somebody who proofreads at a newspaper. So if that's right, then if phobos was the sun in the Greek myths, it would be, wouldn't it? Then that would make sense. I'm worried about that letter. Oh, I'm worried about that letter. Where does Alexa come from that? It doesn't, does it? I think I would go for this on the basis I think sub is supported. Focus. And I'm just not good enough at spelling my Greek gods to know the spelling is that rather than... No, that looks wrong. But what was it? Was it last week that... What was the word? I misspelt. It was presumptuous, wasn't it? Yeah. Sorry. So, okay, I'm going to go for masseter then. Okay, I'm not going to change these, so let's look them up while I remember. And now this is bad. This is bad psychologically. Oh, it's right. I was thinking it was going to be bad psychologically, because if it was wrong, I would have felt miserable for the rest of the video. But look, it's a muscle that raises the underjaw. Good grief. And then, okay, so Phobos could still be wrong. Ah, but it isn't. Oh, so it's another name of Apollo. Wow. The Greek sun god. And we did spell it right. So we're on the right lines. That's great. So now, oh, what's this one? I've not looked at the clue. I'm trying to get it just from, I don't know actually. Sauces from Italy, served up, and desirable sweet food. I don't know. No, I don't know what that is. That's intriguing. Sauces from Italy, served up, and desirable sweet food. What? Sugar. Sugar something. I don't know. I'm just going to put sugar in and just try it. Ragouts. I like that. So sauces from Italy served up would give ragouts. So then I need a four-letter word which means desirable. Warm? No. And the whole thing means sweet food. Sugar plum? Oh, it's desirable. If a property is in a plum location, it would be desirable. Sugar plum, as in the sugar plum fairy then. That must be right. Okay, so let's try 13 across. We haven't found a Q, have we? So I think my idea of a pangram's wrong. Column. Well, yeah, okay. So this is one of these crossword words that I only know from not being able to solve it in crosswords. There is the name of a type of column is a pilaster. Let me show you. There we go. A square or column, pilaster. Now, but not newspaper. Well, one of the newspapers we have in the UK is the I newspaper. So if we take pilaster and we take the I out of it, we can construct the word plaster. And if you plaster something, you cover it. It was plastered in something, it was covered in it. So that's going to be right. Right, we'll try 5 across. Group with intelligence. Mensa? Probing. What follows? Far or do? Well, if you're familiar with your Sound of Music, do, a deer, a female deer, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So the note that follows far is so, isn't it? So group with intelligence. Probing. The problem is that so, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, has lots of different spellings as well. S-O-L, S-O, and S-O-H, I think, are all legitimate spellings of the note. We'll check that afterwards. But if, social then. So a group with, yes, I've got it. So a group with intelligence is the CIA. And sol is the note that follows far. And a do, as in a party, is a social. That's very difficult. It's very difficult if you're not familiar with the spellings of all these silly notes. Let me see. It's not even there under... It is. There we go. The 5th note of the scale in sol-fa notation. Also spelt so or S-O-H. So I wasn't misleading you. I mean, that's lunacy. I mean, I totally, if you're looking at that going, how does he know that? Well, the only reason I know it is because I haven't known it for so long, but I've done enough crosswords that it's now second nature. So let's try 6 down. Stun people who are inside entertaining clubs with cruciverbalists. Well, a cruciverbalist is a crossword solver. Stun. People who are people who are inside entertaining clubs with cruciverbalists. I wonder if with cruciverbalists is the constructor might be using us, because, you know, the coterie or the collection of people who set puzzles and solve puzzles would be us. So, and I've got us there. So stun people who are inside. People who are inside are convicts. People who are inside prison. Cons. Concuss is the answer. That's a brilliant clue again. Right. So people who are inside, cons, C-O-N-S, entertaining clubs. Well, the suit of clubs in a pack of cards is abbreviated to C. So diamonds are D. You might see that in bridge scoring. So we get, and then us are the crucive herbalists. So we get C and us in cons, and if you stun someone, you concuss them. It's brilliant. Okay. Some snosh, I want that. I won't pipe down. Yeah, okay. Again, it's very cleverly worded because the verbs are becoming or the nouns are becoming the verbs are becoming nouns. So some scoff, I won't pipe down, is trying to say some people sneer, I won't pipe down. But actually, if we have to cut the clue after the word scoff, and scoff is a word for food that you might eat, believe it or not, is a noun. So some scoff is nosh. I won't pipe down. I won't. If we cut it after I won't, if you said I won't, you'd be saying, no, I'm not doing that. I won't. So that's N-O. And pipe down, if you were in a cinema and someone was being noisy and you went, shh, you'd be saying pipe down, wouldn't you? So S-H. So nosh is the answer there. And this is going to be austere, perhaps? Without any frills is austere. So set, hammered. Gold on dresses. It is that. It's austere. So this has been a brilliant puzzle, but let me explain why this is right. Set hammered is saying hammer the word set. Anagram it. Beat it up. And that gives us S-T-E of the answer. Gold, if you look in the periodic table, you will see AU is the chemical symbol for a gold. The other one that comes up in Crosswords, just to mention it, is OR, which is a heraldic tincture. But it comes up a lot. It's worth knowing. Or, here we go, the tincture gold. But in this instance, gold is AU. And on, if something is on something, it's re-it, R-E. If you see that on a memorandum in an office, re a subject, you'd know it was on that subject. So we've got gold on, A-U-R-E, dressing, so surrounding, clothing, the anagram of set, and without any frills is austere. So this is a brilliant puzzle. It is a brilliant puzzle. It's not easy, again. I mean, but what an absolute treat. It's a treat for me to solve a puzzle like that, and I've been doing these puzzles for decades. If you're new to the form, if you're not new to this sort of puzzle, do not worry if you're looking at this thinking, this is so hard. It is. It is hard. But hopefully there were one or two clues as we went through where you understood at least how the answer was being discerned from the clue. And that's what will set you on the journey. There's an awful lot of convention about cryptic crosswords, a lot of things you have to learn. But I think these videos are quite a good way of doing that. It's hopefully a lot less dry. I mean, admittedly with me doing it, probably is very dry. But hopefully it's a little less dry than trying to read it in a book or something like that. Anyway, one thing I like to do is, the video's not too long though, we're okay. I'm going to have a quick race at the quick cryptic now, just to see. So I won't give commentary really on this. I'm just going to see to show you what you can do. Hopefully, once you get a bit of experience, you can normally go quite quickly. So let's see. Here we go. Make amends to stop menace. That's an anagram. Compensate is the answer there. Now we'll try and use the checking letters. So bring runs beneath headland caper. Freight Friend supporting memorial in tremendous, monumentally maybe. Ally. Design using cutting included in sketchbook is an etch. Severely criticise rotten cheats is to... I know it's an anagram. Why can't I immediately write it in? Oh, I don't know. That's appalling. Leader of team has trendy place for people to live tenement. No, I'm not sure. Set off, detonate from location, don't know. Musicians send raunchy sextet, I think. Disparage line in remix of Let It Be. Disparage is going to belittle as an anagram with a bit of extra consideration in favour of incorporating legislation. Oh, don't know. Part of head office for Law Society. Also don't know. Singer's delivery of note. Don't know. Part of Hungarian song is an aria. It's a hidden. Criticise. Pan. Answer. A panacea makes everything better. Perfect. Opening. We hit. Something's pop. That's a homophone. Right. Amp. Horsebox enthusiast. This is something chest, I think. Oh no, chestnut is it? Now I got the construction wrong. Barrier, that surrounds Slough Church. Fen CE, unreactive form of inert. Charlie and I learn bowed instrument is a clarinet. Catch sight of mark, espy. Why do I think it's that? I don't know actually. Spot. A spot is a mark. Junior Member of Parliament, an owlet. Serving special drink to welcome King. Oh, wow. Serving. I'm not sure. Supporter of France to be shot. Supporter is a... of France to be shot. I don't know. Oh, so what? Oh, I couldn't. Oh, scathe is the answer there. Township. Set off. Counter something. A service area is a counter. Counter place. Counterpoint, maybe. I'm not sure which of those is right. Consideration in favour. Oh, factor. Part of head office for Law Society. Oh, I'm not sure. Bar? No, I don't know. Oh, tenor must be. Yes, that's a homophone. Oh, so we're going to have to... If this was counterpoint, we'd have... I think it's more likely to be counterpoint than counterplace. Let's try that. So, serving special drink to welcome King. I can only think of like foreign... I don't know. What's this one then? Supporter is a... deer to be shot. Oh, I don't know. No, I'm stuck on the quick crossword. Serving special. It's not an anagram of serving, is it? Drink to welcome King. I want to put gin. Special. Serving. A portion is a serving. And why is that? Port. Potion. A special drink is a potion. Oh, goodness me. Part of head office for Law Society. I keep thinking of trepan for some reason, which is nothing to do with the answer. Part of head office. for Law Society. People? Temple. And then what is this then? To be supporter is a defender. Detonate, to be shot. I don't know. Supporter of France. Maybe DE is wrong at the start. To be shot. All I've got to do. To be shot. Supporter of France to be shot. I don't know. Maybe if I look at it like that, I'll get it. Supporter is a benefactor. I think that's right. Right, I'm going to just revisit some of that because that was hard. That was hard. Oh, it was a terrible time as well. Goodness me, 6 minutes 20 on the quick cross. That's appalling. That doesn't bode well for next weekend. Let's just have a quick look at some of those. I got stuck on temple, didn't I? Part of head office. Part of your head is a temple. And then, what was it? Office for the Law Society. Yeah, I've heard of temple as a the temple courts, isn't it, in London? Now, what was benefactor? Supporter is a benefactor of France to be shot. So it's an anagram of France to be. That's a very clever anagram. See, I said earlier when we did the main crossword, the French is almost always le. So of France, I was thinking of the word of in French, which is de, or sometimes du, but I had the e here. So I put the de in, and it really didn't help. It was a clever puzzle, actually. Again, who's this by? Asp, you got me with your of France and your clever anagram. But anyway, we got through it. It wasn't impressive, but we did get through it. And thank you very much for watching. And a quick reminder, if you do like these videos, try and teach the algorithm. We would be most grateful. And do drop us. We love the comments, especially on these videos, because some people say, oh, it's helping me. It's really helping me to get into a new hobby. So thanks for watching. We'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.